I'd like to give a special thanks to one of those, Steve Goodfellow and Ernst & Young. Were kind enough to provide us this wonderful space here today, so really appreciate that, Steve and EY. And without further ado, I'll introduce Peter Woodford, our founder and CEO.
Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for coming. It's a pleasure to see some new faces and some people I've known for a while. So welcome. Again, thanks Steve for making the space available. It's a good sized venue for us and right downtown. We're going to have about a 20-minute presentation, and then we'll get into the fun stuff so you can see our toys working in the live demonstration. That'll show you our ability to track cell phone movement within a building. This is our legalese here, so you can all read that. We'll give you a quiz on it after. In a nutshell, this is what we do. It's 911 is one of those things that you hope you never need, but when you watch TV or you figure that it's going to work right down to the room and the floor, and it's not really the case. And what we've been able to do is come up with a unique methodology that will not only give you the blue dot on a map, but it will also give you what we call a dispatchable or human readable address, so that an ambulance can actually go to a physical civic address that's been verified. So if you look at here on the left, that is a GPS blue dot on a map that has an accuracy of over 100 meters. These two locations are both provided by our system, but as you can tell, there's quite a bit of difference in the accuracy. So if you were an ambulance attendant going to Queen Street West, you'd have a little bit of a challenge finding someone on the 29th floor based upon the location that's available today. So on the right-hand side, 1 Front Street West, Toronto, Ontario. That was testing that we did in the Cisco Innovation Lab last March in Toronto. It's one of the 4 labs that Cisco have globally. We did a variety of calls there, and not once did the actual GPS or handset location get the right building, whereas our system performed 100% capacity. This is a short clip from NBC Nightly News done a year ago that'll give you an idea of the size and the scope of the problem.
It's a public safety crisis. Because of old infrastructure, emergency dispatchers often can't locate you when you call from a cell phone. And it's happening from the west.
Ma'am. I know you need an address. I don't know her address.
To the east.
I'm in a car in a lake.
29-year-old Chanel Anderson drowned when 911 couldn't find her.
I need to get out very quickly. Give me the address one more time. It's not working.
Critics call it outrageous. You can order an Uber on your cell phone to your exact location.
Here's my Uber right now. She found me.
You can post selfies on Facebook.
When I tag the location, yep, there it is. Facebook knows exactly where I am.
But not when you call 911. I first exposed this problem 3 years ago, trying 911 myself outside D.C.
911, what's the emergency?
Hi, this is Jeff Rawson with NBC News. Just want to know if you can tell me where our location is on your computer.
Showing 4641 West Fox Road.
That's not here.
Absolutely not. That's about a quarter mile away.
At the time, federal officials promised to fix it, so we just tried again, this time in Arvada, Colorado.
I'm wondering if you can tell me on your screen right now where it says I am.
66th Place and Dover Street.
That is crazy.
Where
That's
is that?
got to be almost 16 blocks away.
16 blocks away, and by the way, to make this even more crazy, that is the emergency dispatch center. We are in the police department right now. It's literally across the hall.
It's across the hall.
Where that dispatcher is sitting.
Yes.
What do you make of this?
When it comes to public safety, when we need to save lives, we cannot have this gap.
This is life and death.
This is life and death.
The FCC says by 2021, all wireless carriers must give more accurate location data. But that's still years away. The FCC declined our request for an interview, telling NBC News they're working on multiple fronts to promote a modernized 911 system supporting enhanced tools and features. Some blame the wireless carriers too, saying they're not doing enough. The industry group telling us they've established a multi-city trial to evaluate new technologies and are working closely with the public safety community. But until then, this dangerous gap will stay on it. Jeff Rawson, NBC News, Arvada, Colorado.
at the National Emergency Number Association, which is the biggest industry association in the world, at their annual convention last year, the new president that came in quantified the problem in the United States. It's 10,000 lives per year are lost because of poor localization with mobile devices. So it's a pretty big problem. 150 countries worldwide have an emergency services number system. Every single one of them need our system. The size and scope of the opportunity is pretty amazing when you look at the number of cell phones in the world are about 7 billion. That number will grow to over 9 billion by 2020, the end of 2020. So a huge market, large problem. 10,000 lives per year is pretty amazing. But we can't get the slide to click. This is a video that'll give you a high-level overview of our solution and how it works.
SOS 112, vad har inträffat?
Min mamma har ramlat.
Okej, hur mår din mamma?
Hon vill inte vakna. Hon vaknar inte.
Okej, andas hon?
Vänta. Mamma. Hon andas.
Det är bra. Jag ska hjälpa dig. Vad heter du och hur gammal är du?
Over 70% of all 112 calls to SOS Alarm are from mobile phones.
That's in Swedish. We did this animation for our partner event in Sweden. And essentially the story is it's a little girl, her mother's on the floor, and she calls the emergency number in Europe, which is 112, and says, my mom's on the floor. Well, where are you? I'm at home. Well, where are you? Well, I'm at home and we're in the living room. So that's where they actually were, but it didn't mean anything to a 112 dispatch person. So that's the importance of location. If it's not given automatically, then you're going to have to know. You also have to have the ability to actually speak. So can anyone tell me exactly right off the top of their head what our address is here today?
Yeah.
Okay, case in point. So if you happen to be traveling like we all do, you get into a hotel late at night, you check in, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're waking up choking, you call 911, where are you? So that's the incident. It's kind of like having insurance. You need it to be there when you need it, and when you need it is when you're probably having the worst day of your life. So that's kind of the importance of having it not only accurate, but also automatic.
Over 70% of all 112 calls to SOS Alarm are from mobile phones. Current levels of location accuracy make mobile 112 the industry's biggest problem. If the victim is unable to speak or does not know their location, today the emergency operator is only able to provide an estimated area in which the caller may be located. This requires the first responders to search the area for the victim. A major percentage of emergency calls come from urban areas. Existing methodologies provide an estimated area within which they think the caller is located. They can't differentiate between buildings and have no indoor cellular location capability. As with any emergency call, time is critical. Without precise location information, including indoor, critical time will be lost searching for the victim. Let's do this again, but this time let's use the ELi Emergency Mobile Location System. Our young heroine now calls 112 and as before cannot give the SOS operator her address. The ambulance is dispatched, but this time the emergency service personnel have the ELi system. ELi's Emergency Mobile Positioning System provides the precise verified location and an abundance of relevant information. As illustrated in the adjoining tag, the address, floor number, and the apartment number have been made available automatically. Additional information such as entrance code to the main door for the emergency responders can also be provided. With ELi's advanced and complete 112 mobile solution, response time can be improved dramatically to ensure positive 112 outcomes, resulting in enhanced public safety for all suites.
So that was, Sweden is one of our low-hanging fruit on the sales and business development side, and that's why the startup was in in Swedish. The reason why we're in Sweden is that they have probably the most advanced 112 system in the world. And even though the market is global and it's quite large, outside of North America, every country has centralized management and control of their emergency calling under one entity. So while you have 150 countries, you only have typically 150 decision makers. So they are all members of the same associations. As an example, the NINA that we mentioned earlier is US based, but international in scope. We're members of that organization, and we have a board member who's a former president of NINA. The European Emergency Number Association, or ENA, we sit on 5 committees there, so it's a very tight-knit community to get to all the 150 decision makers. So that's the problem, the solution that we have, and then the size and scope of the market that's readily acceptable for such a global opportunity. Clicker's down. So the thing to remember about 911, or in Europe 112, is that 911 is just not a telephone call. There's a sequence of events starting with someone having a problem or a situation that they need help with. There's the phone call. There's the network that connects the phone caller to the call taker. Then they have to be able to accurately identify where you are in the minimum amount of time. Then there's a dispatch network, and then the first responder. And if there's a failure in any of those links, you have a delay in the response time. And the longer the response time, the more tragic or negative the consequence. Without accurate location that's given automatically, that time goes up dramatically, which results in poor outcomes. Our technology, last month, January 22nd, we received our full US patent. We have a second patent that was submitted on the 19th of January this year, and a third patent will be written by the end of the first quarter. We've also filed for our International Patent Cooperative Treaty, which has about 150 member countries globally. The date of application goes back to our October 2017 filing at the US Patent Office. That's a 30 to 36 month process, which will give us protection in those 150 countries. We've also filed, because of the high level of activity in Europe, Patent Protection Highway, PPH, which is a process for the European countries that takes 6 to 9 months. So we've done a pretty good job on protecting our intellectual property. We also have an ongoing strategy on how to continue to grow our footprint in our space to make sure that we have lots of protection. Our patent lawyer says, think of it of patenting a racehorse. You get the patent on the racehorse, and then you go back and get a patent on the tail and the hoof and all the different parts, so that it just strengthens your positioning, which is part of what the value prop for our company is. The way in which we do our location is very similar to in the old days when we only had telephones, landlines. Everyone had a phone in their kitchen. That Bell, or at that time would have been MT&T, came to your house and actually installed the phone in your house and fixed it to the wall. Because they had been on site to install it, they were able to verify your address. They also gave your phone line a number, your telephone number, which they could then associate to that location in a database. So that if you called 911, as soon as they answered your caller ID, they could send that number to a database and the location would come back. Well, there's not many landlines around, and the ones that are around, no one uses them anymore unless you lose your cell phone and you have to call it to make it ring. But what we do is turn every internet access point, because every home has an internet connection broadcasting Wi-Fi. We turn each one of those internet access points to broadcast a unique identifier, which we're calling a tag. That tag is much like your phone number in that the internet service provider has been to your home to verify the address. They also know where to send the bill. They're able to put that tag in the database associated to your address, so that when you pick up a mobile phone and dial 911 or any emergency number, that tag gets utilized along with the voice call, so that when the 911 call taker answers the phone, that unique identifier is sent to the database and the location comes back automatically. So we've taken an old model and kind of modernized it. So that's basically how it works. One of the beauties of our system is that there's no changes to existing infrastructure. Everything downstream of our system stays exactly the same. So all the call centers, call handling protocols and procedures all remain the same. So it's an upgrade without much investment. This is our team. You've met Charles, Troy Yo, our Director of Finance, Susan Faulkner, who's going to make sure that when we start deploying countries that everything goes in the right place. Ryan Donovan, where's Ryan? Back of the room. Ryan's at the back of the room. Ryan is our tech team lead. He's with Barrington Consulting, and they've done an amazing job building our technology and putting it together. This is our board of directors. We've been fortunate. Our chair, Mike Bryan, is here. George Way is also here. We've been very fortunate to put together a strong board and a strong governance model as well. Timeline. The company was incorporated in 2017 but didn't become active until October of last year. We filed our patent application in October last year, qualified for fast track patent status as the U.S. Patent Office. There was nothing in our space, so they gave us fast track status. Barrington built our proof of concept in Q4. We did our alpha in June 2018 and successfully completed our beta with the launch of the Shista 112 Development Center in November 2018. Excuse me. Shandor Albrecht, the former founder of the Ericsson Garage and now Chief Technology Officer for the Research Institute of Sweden, which is one of the Scandinavia's top technology schools, did our technology audit in December, and we got the report in January. We finished our seed B round in the third quarter last year, coupled with our seed A round. Totals about $2 million raised to date. We've got, in our distribution side, we signed in the second quarter letter of intent with our first regional reseller. We also finished our Shista partnership finalized. Jumping around here. So it's been a busy year. So we've gone from patent application, alpha, beta, proof of concept, to an audited test result, high-level engagement with both Sweden and Romania. We've got our governance put together. We're building our team, and we continue to do so at a rapid rate. So 2018 was good to us, and 2019 looks even more promising. So what's happening over the next 10 months? We've talked about Sweden and Romania. They're probably the top two countries in this industry as far as their advancement and acceptance of technology. Sweden as a society is very socially aware, but they're also very technologically advanced, and they figure it's their right to be leaders in all things technology. So we put the two of them together. They're perfect reference accounts for us. They understand the technology, they understand how it takes them forward, and they understand the benefits not only for 911 but other industries such as IoT and smart cities. We are in the final stages of developing an interface between our system and the 112 system in Sweden. From there we'll go to a letter of intent whereby we'll do a network design analysis of their specific customer needs so that we can actually create a contract. So we're expecting to have letters of intent with both Sweden and Romania by the end of June. Just to give you an idea, that's approximately 20 million Canadian in revenue from those two countries. Everybody in the industry, as we talked about, the need is so high, everybody in the industry is looking for a solution. There's been a lot of confusion on how to go from legacy or old school telephony into the modern era of the internet protocol. And just to give you an idea how far behind this industry is, every phone call to an emergency number in the world today goes through a telephone switch that was invented or engineered in the 70s. That's before the internet. So what we represent is quite a dramatic jump forward, and that's why, because of the confusion in the industry, it pretty much defines our opportunity. You go to all the conferences around the world and everybody's looking for problems to be resolved, and no one seems to have anything, no one's building anything. So what we were fortunate enough to do in Shista, which would be recognized as one of the biggest internet ICT hubs in the world, we signed an agreement with them and we built our beta project. So with the help of Barrington, we have a end-to-end internet protocol emergency call handling system based upon our platform. That will be a test, demonstration, and development site for the industry. The reason why we did it there is not only is the location of Shista being the Silicon Valley for the rest of the world, and Sweden being one of our early adopter countries, but we're able to keep that platform up and running, build, test, and develop new products and services on it. But most importantly, we're able to bring people in to show them it working in a real live environment. Just to give you an idea, they would be a city the size of New Glasgow. They have over 50,000 ICT workers there, 1,100 ICT companies. The people at Shista Science City are so excited about what it is that we're doing that they say they're going to be telling the ELi Technology story as a success story, but also as an example of how to build an ICT company. So we're pretty excited about that because it's a pretty strong reference. So I'll introduce you to Ryan Donovan, our technology lead, and he's going to be doing a demonstration of how our technology works.
I want to read this. All right, so today, again, my name is Ryan Donovan, and my coworker here, Adam. We were on the team that did the product development based on the patent that I guess we recently got thumbs up on. What I wanted to do today is talk to you about how the technology works a little bit and show a full demonstration. One of the things that we demonstrated in Sweden was the ability to actually track location inside of an urban setting in order to show the power of the technology when it comes to an emergency call. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware, but when you do make a 911 or 112 call, the phone itself goes into protected mode, and the goal of that protected mode is so that you can continue to speak with the operator for the duration of that. And there is some, in some countries, in some jurisdictions, there is a methodology by which the phone can deliver its GPS coordinates, its handset location. So you'll hear that term I mentioned, handset location. And one of the things about the ELi technology piece as well is we also plan to deliver that handset location. That's the same location information that allows you to hire your, well, not here in Halifax, but your Uber, or arrange to have your pizza delivered to your house. Actually, one of the things I'd like to get, does anybody want to volunteer? The concept behind the demo is someone to make a phone call on our phone, and it's an everyday standardized phone.
What network is it running on?
I think it's currently a Virgin network. So the idea is...
We are on Virgin.
Yeah, someone can make a test call, and what we've done is we've keyed in such that this particular phone endpoint, which just sort of puts the user on hold, it'll actually trigger our protocol. It triggers the actions that we want to have triggered when an actual emergency occurs. So
you have to be a Virgin user, or it could be any...
No, we can actually give you the phone. Right now, it works on any carrier network, but if you were to place that emergency call with your iPhone, it wouldn't have our protocol running on it. But part of the ELi technology solution will have the Google and the Apples of the world to actually implement this as part of the emergency handling protocol. So some of the things we've done is we've fully defined exactly what steps the handset device needs to perform when an emergency call is triggered. And that will go hand in hand with some of the battery saving features and the current emergency protocol that occurs in particular jurisdictions. So does anybody want to volunteer? They'd have to be able to descend a set of 2 stairs. And if no one volunteers, I'll...
Got one.
All right, we got a volunteer.
Hey, Andrew.
You don't need to use your own phone, and Adam will be able to give you a phone to make that call. It'll just put you on hold. And one of the other things that we're going to do is, well, we're going to do a Skype call. And the purpose of the Skype call is purely for the audience, you, to monitor the progress both of the individual as they make their way through the building, and also the location information that we're delivering. Now, when we're in Sweden, we integrated directly with the commercial PSAP, Public Safety Answering Point. One of the things that we'll show you here is basically a very vanilla view screen of location information. We called it our white label PSAP, but you'll be able to see the information, both the handset location, that GPS coordinates, as well as the ELi mobile location as it flows through the system. So that's the structure of the demonstration. Any questions?
Going?
Yeah, you can.
I'll just start it for you.
Okay.
So a live call with voice and video.
So Adam's going to follow through so that we can see.
Yeah, we'll go away. It's usually right.
So right now on the left-hand side. I got it. Start trip. On the left-hand side, we have the white label PSAP, and that red dot is the location information that the handset provided. But down here, we have the human readable location information, and one of the things that we've done is we've tagged some of the access points throughout the building. For example, this one's showing 1871 Hollis Street Transformation Room. That's the room in which we're in right now. And you can see from the video, they're going to ascend to the 6th floor. In order to set up this demonstration, I think it took 15 minutes to come in and take a look at the Wi-Fi of this particular building. And the basis of the ELi Technologies, it makes use of the existing Wi-Fi equipment that's already installed throughout the building.
Go ahead.
Now,
just make a right out these doors here.
6th floor.
I'm going to go down to the
we see immediately
Suite 600
near
just at the end
Suite
here.
600 on the RBC doors. And he's actually walking closer to the E and Y
We'll just stop here and
doors. And you can
turn around.
see
We're going to go back down the
switch
hallway.
to the E and Y floors. So the concept is this location information from the phone during an
straight past
emergency
the
call
elevators there.
can be continually fed
This is
into
the
the PSAP,
RBC
into the
Suite
public
600.
safety answering point,
And
giving
we're going to go
individuals
into the staircase there.
that really giving operators a huge advantage
And we're here at the
over
6th
the
floor
GPS
stairwell.
coordinates that the phone is also delivering. And you can see the
descend.
GPS coordinates is sort of all over the
It'll,
place,
it's unlocked.
and it's not going to tell you how to get to that 6th floor.
Yep. Yep.
So right now it seems
We are
that
going to go down to the 4th floor
they're in the
here.
6th floor stairwell, and they're descending.
We are on the 5th floor stairwell.
And you can see it switches to the 5th floor stairwell.
And here we are at the 4th floor stairwell. I'll open
You
the
can
door
see
here.
it switch to the 4th floor
And
stairwell.
on your left is the transformation room where we started.
And that itself is the essence of the demo. It's the ability to provide this location information in a format that's very different than what handset is currently delivering.
I'll grab it.
Thank you very much. You were able to follow me, were you able to follow me?
You didn't get lost. That's
I
a
was
good
doing
thing.
some walking. I already knew this would work. I saw him do it a few years ago.
We're going to switch back. Any immediate questions? Go.
So what difficulty are you anticipating having Google or Apple follow the protocol?
It'll be the same sort of David and Goliath type conversation. We're bringing something that's not been done before to Google and Apple. There's an entire industry based in indoor location. but is very much focused on math and GPS coordinates, where our solution is, I won't say the words, well, it's more elegant in certain terms that you don't need to provide a 10-centimeter GPS-specific point of information, because that's not what emergency responders require in order to find you. If anything, an altitude and GPS coordinates is not going to get me to the right floor and the right location as a human, right? That's great for machine measurements and things like that. This technology gives you human-readable location information that has what I would say higher value than a really specific GPS or altitude reading. So that's part of it will be convincing the power of this different way of looking at location, and secondarily, Google and Apple do play in the space of emergency calls and trying to convince them to adapt this.
They've been, in the last 2 or 3 years, very socially aware and conscious that they need to know, or they know that they need to make improvements for 911 and 112. The protocol, within all the operating systems of your phone, there's an emergency call handling protocol. As an example, if you were to go into your phone today and turn off all the radios and punch in 112, that's not an emergency number for Nova Scotia. But the device would recognize it as an emergency number, turn on every connection, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, GPS, cellular, and data. And then it does go through a series of steps called emergency call handling protocols, which would include picking up our unique identifiers or our tags. They already do that today for a service that they're calling advanced mobile location, which would be considered to be the best of our competitive landscape. After 3 minutes, they can come up with a 50 to 100 meter blue dot on street level on a map. So that's what the best of the rest have. And the challenge they have is that the local area environmental conditions vary so much, and particularly as you go up in floors. So as Ryan indicated, indoor cellular location is of high value to both Google and Apple. So we're in the process now in conjunction with Cisco of starting the process with both Google and Apple. The AML product and service that they both offer. The gentleman that invented that is an associate of mine. I've known him for 6 years now, and I'll be meeting with him this fall. So, that answer your question?
I guess so. I'm just interested, I guess from a technology standpoint, how difficult is that for them to make the switch? It's one thing for them to say, yeah, this works, we need to do it, but is it a difficult process to actually roll it out?
You know how you get on your laptop, you get turn it on or off and it's uploading. It's the same type of process. I think Apple do it 4 times a year, and Google have a regularly scheduled update as well. So it gets downloaded to every single one of their devices that are active in the world.
If implemented, it would be like an operating system update.
So technically, it's very easy to actually put it on your phone. It's the negotiations with Google and Apple that are the challenge. But as Peter said, Google has a product called AML, which does the handset location. As you said, that's the best that we've got today. There's some significant privacy issues that Google's facing with that, whereas our ELi system kind of bypasses. We don't have the same privacy concerns, so I would think they're going to be very, very open to want to talk about that, because it solves a big problem that they're facing right now.
Peter, good work, by the way. Good work.
Oh, thank you.
Good. So in 2 to 3 years, would you see Google a competitor or an acquirer?
An acquirer. In our conversations with Cisco, and as we talked about, we did a lot of testing with them, they seem to think when we first make that approach that they're going to be more than interested in what we are doing, more in an acquisition mode. If you step back and look at it, it's such a big market that in order to get our intelligence on every internet connection in the world, it's best suited for companies like a Google or a Microsoft or an Apple that have the horsepower to make that happen. The second part to that is the value proposition for a Google or an Apple or Microsoft is huge. Privacy came up a little while ago. GDPR, which is the European privacy regulations, there's 7 countries now that are suing Google. A week ago Monday, France fined Google 57 million euros for privacy violations. Congress is all over Google and Facebook for their privacy violations. How we fit into that space is that in order for them to actually track you and provide all the mapping services, they're tracking you 24/7. Right now they know that everybody in this room, all their phones are in close proximity to each other. So in order for them to do mapping for 911, they have to track every one of their devices 24/7. And how they do that is they track your MAC addresses on both your home, your office, and those types of things. So that's all of the excitement around that. With our system, how we fit in for that is that our unique identifiers are those tags that Ryan referred to. They're encrypted and dynamically changed. There's no way to associate a tag to an individual or a specific address. So we can provide them a higher level of accuracy for locating devices without a violation of anyone's privacy. To the point that for our Shista 112 Development Center, our tagline for that is progress without compromise. As we move into very much a digital society and economy, typically you have to give up something to get progress, but with our system, you're not giving up your privacy.
So Peter, just wondering, the difference is that they can't locate you with your service unless you actually make the call. Is that
Correct.
So you're in essence providing the authorization for tracking by making the call.
Again, if you think about it, 911's a call for help. You need help, so you want people to hear it, so yeah. It's actually in the EU regulations as of January 1st.
Peter, do you know how much testing from a rural point of view? All the stuff you show me has always been in an urban center, talking about office towers. Has there been any testing in the wilderness?
Yes, there have, and kind of what we've done with the design of the product is we have both handset location, which is a mixture of GPS and Wi-Fi, as well as our tags. And in urban areas where there's Wi-Fi everywhere, the tag system is quite exact. When you go into areas much like rural Nova Scotia where there's no Wi-Fi, typically you're in an open area and the GPS would be quite accurate. So where there's no tags, the GPS is accurate. Where there's lots of tags or Wi-Fi, GPS isn't accurate, and that's why they work so well together. So that's the key, 2 pieces of location information. There's got to be more questions than that.
Speaking of the pipeline, just tell us where you are in the pipeline, traction, recurring revenues, who the accredited client, and how do you secure them?
I asked for 8 questions, not 4. Excellent question. So right now,
I think it was part A, B, C.
yeah, where we are is we have 2 kind of low-hanging fruit, and both of them are leaders in the industry, Romania and Sweden. We are in the process now in Sweden of Ryan figuring out how we message their network so that they can receive our location information and populate it in their system. Once that's done, we'll move into a letter of intent. What a letter of intent outlines is a process from when we sign that to we formalize a contract. So with each country, what we have to do is a traffic analysis, network design, service level agreements, reporting schedules, all those types of items have to be analyzed and specified for terms of the contract. From there, we can end up giving them a price and then signing a contract. In Romania, both the 112 operator, STS, and the regulator asked for, we want to buy your product, what do we have to do to go through those processes? So that's where we are with those. We expect to have a letter of intent before the end of June for both of those countries. From letter of intent to contract will take somewhere around 3 to 4 months. It's been described by everyone in the industry that no one wants to be the first one in the pool, but no one wants to be the last. And by selecting both Sweden and Romania as our kind of showcase accounts, will be quite easily to adopt others. What we're doing to speed that process up is 2 things. We're using a white label reseller distribution model. No one's going to turn over control of 112 or 911 to a startup from a city they never heard of. So what we're doing is we're going through recognized brand names or companies that are already in the distribution network for a 112 operator. So we're targeting on a global brand level, IBM, we're in discussions with them, Cisco, Motorola, and Ericsson. I almost forgot Ericsson. And then we've got one reseller out of Oslo signed up already. We've got memorandums of understanding with 2 others, and we've got 2 or 3 others that we're in the process with. The ones that we have documentation on already would give us in the vicinity of 20 countries. So that is kind of how we're approaching our distribution network. Again, coming back to the 150 countries and the 150 decision makers, as part of our membership of both NINA and ENA, we get access with contact information for every decision maker in the world. So we're having a media launch in March 15th in Sweden, where we're kind of announcing this, our development center at Kista, as well as our company launch. After that date, we are in the process of creating content so that every 2 to 4 weeks, every decision maker in the world will be getting direct communication from our company to them, outlining the problem, the solution, how it fits in with both privacy, technology, all of those things so that we can educate the whole industry. You know, we all go down to the mailbox these days and it's half full of junk email for pizzas and coupons and stuff. That's not direct level marketing, and they get somewhere between 5 and 7% redemption rate on that. We're expecting somewhere around 10% of redemption rate or communication back. So that's 15 countries right off the bat. We don't plan on fulfilling those orders, again, because we're a small company. What we want to do is the resellers that we have and we will be acquiring, we'll be feeding those qualified leads into them to fulfill those orders. So that's how we're kind of going to grow that. On the deployment side, our servers can be done either in the cloud or with infrastructure in the basement, if you will. We're in negotiations now with IBM, and we're in discussions with Cisco, with them being our technology provider on that side. What that does is that gives us the ability to install, service, and maintain a server in any country in the world at any time. So we don't need a team to go and deploy and manage and maintain. And that's what's going to give us our scalability. Did I get all 5?
Is there an ongoing service fee associated with the technology? Like, how do you actually create an ongoing revenue stream from this?
So our business model is based upon the number of cell phones that are traditionally located in a country, and then we charge an annual fee per device. What we're looking at doing is it's 5 cents US or approximately 60 Canadian cents per year per device. If you look at your bills here in Nova Scotia, we pay one portion of our 911 fee is 43 cents a month. So over 12 months, that's almost $5. So the 5 cents a month is a pretty good deal.
Hey, Peter, obvious question, I guess. Well, why wouldn't you? EHS seems to be somewhat progressive. Why wouldn't they be an early adopter in your progression?
Good question. I got asked that a couple of times. In North America, we haven't nationalized kind of the management and control of emergency calling. Nova Scotia is probably the most advanced in the country, but they're still part of the 911 Emergency Services Work Group, and then you've got the 3 big telcos that all have to play together. There's about 400 decision makers in Canada that all have to have a say, and if you put them all in a room, they wouldn't even know what to order for lunch, let alone how to make a substantive difference. What our plan is for them, because we can actually change and upgrade the core infrastructure, is use Cisco or Motorola as a reseller to distribute into Canada and North America. Any other questions?
Do you see another technology platform or technology that could disrupt your technology in the future?
It's hard to say when or if there will be a disruptor. We do expect to have other competitors, and that's part of what our strategy is that because we're looking for scalability in our supply chain, our ability to reach out to the 150 decision makers in a controlled and direct fashion, and by going through the white label reseller model, that will kind of color in the map, so to speak, before anyone else really figures out what we're doing and how to go to build it.
And it expands fast.
Exactly. And then from there, once you own the real estate, that's part of our value proposition. You start stacking other services on top. Do you have that?
Yeah.
So we're gonna show you this little video, and it's done by Ericsson and Telia, which is the Bell equivalent for Scandinavia. This was done in April of this year for the innovation ministers in Scandinavia.
Each year in Sweden, about 5,500 people suffer from out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, but only 600 survive. When these emergencies happen, it's important to act fast. But sometimes the ambulance services don't make it on time. Advancements in UAV technology and the use of the 4G and future 5G network makes it possible for us to create digital aerial infrastructure, which enables UAVs to reach remote locations. This infrastructure allows an entire network of UAVs and emergency services to be connected, controlled, and corrected dynamically by both the control center and the authorities. The UAV situational awareness will let it adapt its travel route depending on weather reports, changes in routes of manned aircraft, obstacles, or no-flight zones. As of today, rules and regulations haven't caught up with the advancements of UAVs as life-saving methods, leaving many people without the help they need. We want to see a solution where technology can be used to its full extent and as a service to society. This network will create information gathering and logistical solutions for everything from security, agriculture to healthcare. Together, we can enable the infrastructure of tomorrow.
So you notice how that drone delivered a defibrillator, but it was in the middle of a field? That's because the only technology they have at their disposal today is GPS. And GPS is great in wide open areas, but it's not good in urban areas. Our system will provide both GPS coordinates as well as our unique tag. And what the GPS coordinates do will get that drone into your neighborhood. Then it can start scanning the Wi-Fi access points, looking for the tag where the call originated, and then drop the defibrillator on your front step. So what we end up becoming is a digital civic address system as opposed to the physical one that we have today. So your house would actually have, the street sign at the end of your street and then a number on your home. It would also have, based upon our system, a digital civic address, which the value proposition for that is quite intriguing. Amazon today is doing testing on how to deliver packages by drones. They need a digital civic addressing system to make sure that they get to the proper house. Emergency services, Internet of Things. The whole world is heading towards a big data push. The amount of data that will be shipped around the world over the next 3 years is going to quadruple. And big data that everybody's after, and they all want to collect your data. It's all about data, data, data. Big data is valuable, but big data with verified location information is extremely valuable. So that's one of the ancillary benefits that we represent, is not only do we solve the biggest public safety problem in the world by 80% of the calls made to emergency call handling systems are from mobile devices, but that gives us the reason and the permission to have a piece of intelligence on every internet connection in a country. And when you look at the value proposition for a Google or an Apple to have that real estate, it's astounding. So that's kind of what it is that we're building.
Peter, on the tag, demonstrated on yours that there was the access code for the building.
Yep.
How is the proposal populating that?
So the tag gets stored in a database. And in Sweden, the database they use is quite dynamic. You can put a lot of information in there. So it'd be no good knowing that someone's at Cogswell Tower, office 1402, if they couldn't get through the security door to get in. So what can happen with the database is you can actually put all types of additional information in behind that, which would include door access codes and so forth. So whatever you want to make available can go behind that tag. Any other questions? So thank you very much for your attention. I'm going to have Mr. O'Brien get up, the chair of our board, to say a few words. It's been a very, very interesting, exciting year for us. We've got a lot of really good things on the go, both from a customer perspective, a distribution channel perspective, on the regulation side, and on our technology. The ability or to have a piece of intelligence on every internet connection in a country is a pretty unique and valuable proposition. And we're using the utility of our system to provide accurate location for an emergency call and public health safety. That's why the regulators are going to be pushing for this to happen. Once that's done, then we can start layering other products and services, and we have 2 or 3 in the hopper ourselves. So what we're building is just not a neat little piece of technology for 911, but it's kind of a digital civic address system that has a multitude of layers of value, in particular for the big companies like Google, Apple, and Microsoft. So thanks very much. We're pretty pleased to date. I think over 95% of our investment dollars have come from Nova Scotia, so we like to keep waving the flag. This will be a very exciting and prosperous Nova Scotia success story, and I'd like to welcome you guys to the team in the very near future. Thank you. Mike.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, my name is Mike Bryan. I'm the chair of the board. I have a few thank yous that I'm going to give, but before I do that, I just think to reiterate what Peter said there, we've had an exciting year. I think it's important to know for the existing shareholders that are in the room and prospective shareholders in the room that we've worked very hard to put a good operating team in place that you see here today. In addition, we put a great board in place and strong governance, and we're doing the best we can to keep the CEO in line and keep him tied to the goals that he sets for us, and keeping them realistic, but at the same time keeping them aggressive. We don't think time is our friend, and so we're pushing very hard to make things happen as quickly as possible. In turn, Peter sort of thinks slow downhill, so Peter has a tendency to pass that pressure along, if you will. In the last year, we've raised over $2 million. I think that in itself is, it's under the radar. You aren't reading about us in the paper every day. I mean, we're all seeing technology companies doing this and that in the paper every day. You aren't reading about ELi. We're flying under the radar at the moment. We're told that raising over $2 million, that we're a bit of we're blazing a trail a little bit in Nova Scotia for that kind of a raise. We're looking at the moment for another $1.5 million, as Charles will tell you about, at a 35-cent coupon, and we see that taking us to the end of the year. The runway will take us out to the end of the year based on our burn rate at the moment. So Charles has all that information, and he'll be following up with everybody, and be happy to stay after and answer any questions you have. So I think the big thing is, though, the thing that strikes me the most is this is a great opportunity for us to do something great in Nova Scotia, and it's an opportunity for us as investors to make some money. Then that's significant, and we all want to do that and make it a positive experience. But the thing is that this technology has the ability to save lives, and who doesn't want to be a part of something like that? This is not the cure for cancer, but it could have a significant effect, and so that's a pretty exciting prospect for all of us. So thanks very much for coming. I really appreciate it. To the existing shareholders, thanks so much for your support. To date, for the hopefully new shareholders we have in the room, we look forward to meeting you and having you on board. And I want to say a special thanks to Steve Wetmore for allowing us to use this great technologically empowered room. I think it's a testament to the management team that they were able to get Steve, bend his arm, and get the place for free. So I think that's a testament. We have a little token of our appreciation, Steve.
It's totally unnecessary.
Yeah, thanks very much. Well, you can give it back if you want. Thanks very much. So thanks again. There's hors d'oeuvres and things, drinks outside, soft drinks. Talk to the team. Any other questions that may come up with respect to the raise or the technology or anything. It's great to see you all here, and we look forward to talking to you in the future. Thanks again.